The call came in just after 8 p.m., a standard order, pepperoni pizza with extra cheese, destined for room 14 at a modest motel in Kissimmee, Florida. The kind of night where nothing out of the ordinary should happen. A routine delivery, cash payment, and maybe a smile exchanged at the door. But what unfolded that night was anything but routine. If you find true crime story interesting and compelling, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for undiluted fascinating true crime stories. A young woman, just 22 years old, walked up to that motel room with a pizza in hand. Behind that door were a mother, her 5-year-old daughter, and the promise of an uneventful evening. The transaction should have been over in seconds, but within hours, their lives would be irreversibly altered. What forces push someone to take the familiar and turn it into chaos? What ignites a seemingly trivial moment into a night of unspeakable violence? This isn't just a story of a crime, it's a story of human decisions, of the choices made when anger eclipses reason, and how ordinary places can suddenly become the backdrop to extraordinary horror. Tonight, we revisit the case of Brianna Alvelo, a pizza delivery driver with a past that seemed to stay in the shadows until it was too late. Her actions left a pregnant mother clinging to life and a small child witnessing the unthinkable. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind the attack at the Riviera Motel, a tale of conflict, fear, and the chilling reality of what people are capable of when the balance of power shifts in the blink of an eye. This is not just about a crime. It's about the layers beneath it, the questions we ask, the answers we fear, and the consequences that ripple through every life touched by that fateful night. In December 2024, Kissimmee, Florida, a small, quiet city known more for its proximity to tourist destinations than for headlines like these, became the scene of a crime so shocking it left even seasoned investigators stunned. It all began at the Riviera Motel, a place meant to offer temporary refuge for travelers and families. Inside one of its modest rooms, a pregnant woman, her boyfriend, and her 5-year-old daughter were simply trying to make it through another evening. Outside, Brianna Alvelo, a 22-year-old pizza delivery driver, approached with an order in hand. It should have been the kind of exchange that happens 1,000 times a day, ordinary, unremarkable. But what happened next sent shockwaves through the community, leaving people questioning not just the crime itself but the motives behind it. The tipping dispute that followed would escalate into something far more violent, far more personal. By the time the night was over, a pregnant mother would find herself in a hospital bed, fighting for her life. This is not just the story of an attack, it's the story of moments that led up to it, of lives colliding in ways no one could have anticipated, and of how one act of rage forever changed the lives of everyone involved. In the next hour, we'll take you through every chilling detail of this case. The events as they unfolded, the investigation that followed, and the unanswered questions that still linger. What drove Brianna Alvelo to such extremes? And how does a single act of violence ripple through the lives of those left behind? This is the story of a night no one saw coming, but one that no one can forget. To understand the gravity of this case, we first have to step back and examine the world surrounding it. Kissimmee, Florida, a city not far from the glittering lights of Orlando's theme parks, is home to thousands of people leading lives far removed from the magic of tourism. This is a place where motels like the Riviera offer shelter to families facing hard times, where behind closed doors, countless stories remain untold. Room 14 at the Riviera Motel housed a young couple and their 5-year-old daughter. The mother was 7 months pregnant, the weight of her growing family resting on her shoulders. Life wasn't easy, but it was manageable. That night, a simple order for pizza, a comfort for the family, became the thread that would unravel their lives. And then, there was Brianna Alvelo. Just 22 years old, she was no stranger to conflict. Raised in an environment marked by struggles, her past bore the scars of anger and unresolved tension. By 2024, Alvelo had already encountered the justice system, with charges of battery in 2020 hinting at a violent streak she seemed unable, or unwilling, to control. That December night, Brianna wasn't just a pizza delivery driver, she was a young woman carrying the weight of frustration and impulsivity. When she arrived at room 14, that weight collided with the lives of those inside, with devastating consequences. The order total was $33.10, and the family handed over $50, a reasonable expectation for change to be returned. But what began as a small tipping dispute quickly escalated. Alvelo claimed the restaurant's policy didn't allow for change to be given, leaving the family frustrated and upset. The exchange grew heated, though no one could have predicted what would follow. Hours later, the quiet of the night was shattered when Brianna Alvelo returned to the motel. This time, she wasn't alone. Accompanied by a man wearing a mask and wielding a gun, she forced her way into room 14. The mother, already vulnerable and pregnant, tried to protect her 5-year-old daughter. But Alvelo's fury was unrelenting. With a knife in hand, Alvelo attacked. The mother was stabbed multiple times in front of her child, her body shielding the little girl from the violence. Her lung collapsed as blood pooled on the floor, and the masked man stood by, ensuring no one could intervene. The victim was rushed to the hospital, her condition critical but stable after hours of surgery. The physical wounds were severe, deep cuts to her chest and abdomen, but the emotional scars, especially for her young daughter, were immeasurable. As detectives began their investigation, the details painted a disturbing picture. Witnesses at the motel identified Brianna Alvelo as the attacker, leading to her swift arrest. She was charged with attempted murder, home invasion, and kidnapping. But there was more to uncover. Who was the masked man? Why did he remain silent during the attack? And was this crime truly spontaneous, or was it fueled by deeper motives? What drives someone to such extremes over something as trivial as a tip? Forensic psychologists suggest that Alvelo's past, marked by unresolved anger and impulsivity, may have created a dangerous cocktail of emotions. The tipping dispute, they argue, was merely the spark that ignited an already volatile situation. In court, Brianna Alvelo faced multiple charges, each carrying the weight of her actions that night. While her defense argued diminished responsibility due to her troubled past, the prosecution painted a clear picture of premeditation and intent. The victim, still recovering, appeared in court to provide testimony, her voice breaking as she recounted the harrowing events of that night. This case left a deep scar not only on the family involved but on the entire community. It sparked debates about safety, tipping culture, and the mental health of service workers. The Riviera Motel, once a quiet refuge, became a chilling reminder of the night terror struck without warning. The story of Brianna Alvelo is one of decisions and consequences, of lives forever altered by a single moment of rage. It's a reminder of how quickly the ordinary can become extraordinary, and how the choices we make ripple far beyond the moment. What happened in room 14 at the Riviera Motel will never be forgotten, and for those involved, the scars will never truly heal. This is the case of Brianna Alvelo. A night of horror, and a story that still leaves us searching for answers. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories.